All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the NAV Lab. Today we have our guest, Jerad Larkin. Jerad is a sales executive for Chicago Title and all-around marketing wizard. Jerad, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here, Bo.
Awesome. We'll jump right into it. As you guys know, I like to get to know my guests by finding out their origin story. So, Jerad, how'd you get here? Where are you from? All that good stuff.
Cool. Hey, I'm from upstate New York, Jerad Larkin, Chicago Title. Found my way out here in 2008, went to University of Denver, went to school there, met my wife there, found myself being one of the many transplants out here, just love it out here in Denver. And fast forward, I've been in the title insurance industry now for just over 7 years, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been quite the journey. We'll talk a little bit about it. But yeah, that's kind of the 30-second spiel on it, and just excited to be here, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're super glad to have you, and I know you've got some good stuff to talk about. So how'd you get to Chicago Title, and why Chicago Title?
So the title insurance industry is fascinating because we kind of joke that you either are born into it or you stumble your way into it, and I'm the second option. I stumbled my way into it. Before I was in title insurance, my wife and we spent a year backpacking through Europe and Asia. We quit our jobs, we kind of planned it out, and we had the best time of our lives. We love to travel, and I know you like to travel as well. And came back, spent all my money, had known that I wanted to be in real estate, I wanted to be in sales. I actually almost went the option of being in commercial real estate because my parents are commercial real estate brokers, but realized I didn't really have those funds to save up for it. I've got a family friend. I was at a house party out in LA. I've got a family friend who works out there in escrow sales, said, "You should check out title insurance sales." And I said, "What's that?" And went home, just Googled title insurance Denver, blind emailed like the first 10 or 15 companies, got a couple interviews. Chicago Title is the only company that hired me, and here I am. It's been great though. It really has. So I got very fortunate, very lucky to be at a good company, and it's a lot of fun.
So what is title insurance?
So title insurance, the way I describe it is this, is if you are purchasing a property, it's a one-time fee that you're going to pay that's going to cover the history of that property. It's a very nominal amount here in Colorado compared to typically your median or average home price. And what it does is it's going to cover all those things in the history of the property that you may not be aware of. When we're going under contract and we're looking at the title, we're looking for anything from judgments, liens, and payoffs. We want to make sure everything is in order. And title insurance is going to cover you for anything that's potentially missed after you take possession of that property. So it's definitely something that's very important. And when it comes to choosing a title company here, I think there's a lot of great title companies, and we have to do a great job. We have to close and provide excellent experience. But beyond that, my main role is to find ways to add value to relationships with real estate agents and investors and lenders out there to help support them, because we know that there's a lot of options to choose from when it comes to title company providers. So my main role when it comes to title insurance is to build relationships with agents, lenders, and investors, find ways to help them with their business, and partner with them, as cheesy as that sounds, but it's just true. And then if hopefully there's an opportunity down the road to work with them on a transaction, that's amazing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's a good overview. I honestly, in all of the deals that I've done, have rarely had any issues with the title or with like the transfer of title or them finding out about a lien or something later
Sure.
on. The one time my client had to use title insurance, the seller didn't pay a special assessment.
Okay.
And the way it all shook out, title insurance ended up covering it, but the contract we checked the box that the seller was going to pay those special assessments.
Yep.
And then I think somehow he got out of it and title insurance covered it, and it was, I don't know, it was very confusing to me how it all happened, because I thought the seller would be on the hook for that. But yeah, so is that something that you've ran into or you've heard about?
What I always say is you don't know what you don't know, right? And I think most of us hopefully have been fortunate enough to not have anything come up, right? When I talk to, a majority of people and agents, usually it's no, just everything went fine, it was good, right? And that's a good response. But yeah, usually when you're in a situation where something comes up or something comes back after a transaction, that's where you really see, I think, the team hopefully shine and take care of you and support you and whatever that is. And what's interesting about this business, the title insurance industry, is I'm only 7 years in, but our escrow officers who have decades of experience doing this still see things pop up and things happen in their daily lives that they've never seen before. So it's interesting. Another thing to consider too is it doesn't take that much money to start a title company in the state of Colorado, which I find fascinating. When you're issuing insurance on, a property, say that's average around 600,000 plus, obviously give or take, if we're looking at home prices, depending on where we are in the market, that's interesting. So I'll just kind of sum it up to, you don't know what you don't know, and you just want to have a good team behind you, obviously. And there's some great companies here that are doing that.
Yeah. So if you're speaking to a real estate agent, which you are right now, and I say it's funny, I just went under contract on a house today. Once I receive that, and it's Chicago title, that's going to be the handling everything.
Yep.
And once I receive that commitment for title insurance, right? What should I be looking for? What should I be advising my client to look for in that commitment?
Yeah, what's going to happen first, we're going to go under contract. Now you're the buyer's agent on this one, and the listing agent is also going to be working with their client. We're going to be looking at anything that needs to be paid off, anything that looks weird, judgments, liens, what's going on with that title. And we're going to basically try to get that to you to then review it with you and your client. And I always say, if someone has questions, they can reach out to me or the escrow officer, and we can get things handled. But we just want to make sure we have everything in order and have our ducks in order before we go into closing and have everything ready to go.
Okay, cool. And it's funny, like some clients, like I offer to review it with them, and like they're just like, yeah, it's cool, it looks good.
I think it's personality styles, right? It's just, do you have that detail-oriented person who has a million questions, or that kind of go with the flow person that's just like, oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I trust you, Bo. You got me covered, right?
I think at the end of the day, most people brush by the title commitment. They get it. They're like, cool. I tell them, at least make sure your name's spelled correctly, because that's a big deal. Yeah. And then I guess another thing that I've always kind of thought too, if there was an issue on it, would the title company let everyone know? I mean, a lot of times if there's a lender involved, you kind of rely on them. They're making sure that everything's free and clear most of the time. But yeah, I think it's something that everyone should pay attention to. I
think it's important. I agree with you. It's usually brushed by, and that's why we're hosting from time to time classes to help anyone, especially real estate agents, when it comes to reading a title commitment, understanding it that way. When you do have those detail-oriented clients who have a million questions, you just know more, and you're more prepared when they have those questions for you as well. So, yeah.
Yep, cool. And so that's on the buy side, right? I'm the buyer's agent. That's really the biggest part of working with the title companies, getting that title commitment, making sure we're hitting our deadlines of if we have an objection, that sort of thing. After that, on the buy side, it's really, we're kind of just waiting for closing. And then you guys are going to be preparing all the documents, right? The bill of sale, the transfer of title. Is there anything special about a specific title company versus another when it comes to closing?
Yes. Yeah. One thing to consider is the title company an agency or a direct underwriter? And that's, again, one of those things you don't know till you know. And for us, for example, Chicago Title, we are a direct underwriter. We are owned by Fidelity National Financial, which owns a bunch of different title companies here. Actually, Chicago Title, Heritage Title, Fidelity Title, which is interesting. We're all owned by the same parent company, but we compete against each other here in the local market, which is actually very smart on their end, because maybe you have a bad experience at one title company, and you write them off, but there's still two more, and then our parent company F&F still, I guess is getting business from that. But being a direct underwriter, essentially we have a bit more control when certain situations pop up that we have to handle, which is considered, versus if a title company is an agency and they have to work with a direct underwriter on a title policy. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So on the sell side, and correct me if I get any of this wrong, but typically in Colorado, the seller selects the title insurance company, and that's part of our contracts. It's a checkbox in there that the seller selects it. Typically, if I'm an agent, I already have a relationship with the title company, and I may have them doing some work for me, net sheets and that sort of thing, before the home even goes on the market. So maybe give us a picture of what kind of happens. Say I come to you, I've got a listing coming up. You're going to connect me with a closer, or how does all that work?
Yep. So I always say this is, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the escrow officer. And as much as I build a relationship with you and want to find ways to help you, it's really going to come down to my most important job is matching you up with the best escrow officer that is of course going to do a great job and is going to close the file and is going to go above and beyond. But in addition to that is also the right personality fit. Mm-hmm. Because there's certain escrow officers that might be, again, certain personalities that match to other certain personalities. So step one is matching you up with the right closer. And then from there, it's a matter of you building a relationship with them, either before or after the transaction goes under contract. And once you go under contract, yes, you're right, typically seller pays, although I do have a few agents that will, as buyer's agents, write in Chicago title just because they've formed such a good relationship with us and they really enjoy that escrow officer. But usually first thing I'm looking at is there an HOA on the property? We want to get those HOA documents. Is the seller going to get the HOA documents, or do you want us to do that? If we're doing it, we've got a third-party company that will go out and get them on the behalf of the seller. Looking at the deadlines, we're looking at, all right, how quickly do we have to turn around title? What does that look like? So all those factors are coming into play as we go through the transaction. For example, this morning we just got in a contract, 2-week close. We got to jump on it, a couple things. So I'm making calls. Before I was in here, I was out in the car making calls, just talking to our team, making sure we get everything lined up and in order. So it's really a case-by-case thing. But I think most importantly, it's that communication and matching you up with the right escrow officer that, of course, is going to take care of you, and the right team that's going to assist them as well through the transaction.
Yeah, cool. It's interesting, like I have a listing coming up, and, I go to my client, and we're, first step is we're going to fill out disclosures. We're going to sign the listing agreement right before we get the home on the market. And as part of our disclosures, we do closing instructions here in Colorado. And I just put the title company in that I want to work with, and the seller never bats an eye. They have no idea, right? They have no idea anything about title companies, title insurance, all that stuff. I'm the expert, right? Yeah. They're going to trust me to pick the right company. And when it comes to, I guess from the seller's perspective, they want to know how much, right? How much is title insurance? Maybe what's that closing services fee? That's another fee that's on there. That's and the way and maybe this is a great question for you. The way I describe that fee is basically that's them paying title for closing, and it's typically split between the buyer and the seller. And I think this is a post-COVID thing because no one ever closes together anymore. Yeah. So they're going to pay for their half of closing. The buyer will pay for their half of closing. Am I explaining that right?
Yeah, that's good. Everything's negotiable, of course, right? But typically we'll see, that bundled escrow fee, which for us is $400, typically might be split between buyer and seller, so $200 each. And then that title policy itself, a couple of things to know about that, especially if you have a very price conscious client that wants the numbers, is if you have a client that has been issued title insurance in the last 5 years, they're going to receive a discounted title policy when they close with Chicago Title. So discounted title policy, also known as a reissue rate, that's the proper terminology for it. And that will benefit them whether they tell us or not, because some agents or some clients are like, hey, I forgot to tell you that they closed and got title, 2 years ago. We always issue it. Half the time, the clients don't even realize they're getting a discounted policy. But that policy is going to range based off of the purchase price of the property. So, of course, the higher the purchase price, the higher amount it's going to be. And it's very, very small typically in comparison to the other fees that are being paid. And it's roughly several $1,000s depending on the purchase price.
Yeah. Cool. And then if I have a listing and I want to know what that fee is, I can send you the address and you can send back a net sheet with what those fees will be.
Yep.
And I'm just estimating the closing price, right?
Always an estimate.
Yeah.
Always an estimate. always an estimate. Yeah. So net sheet is going to be essentially what's that client going to net after everything is paid out and done. What's that final number, right? So typically we're looking at what's the address, what are the taxes, is there a mortgage, what are their payoffs? Let's calculate that all in. Are there commissions, any other unique fees? We subtract all that out, of course, and that's going to be that net number. And yeah, I always share, if you ever need a net sheet, we can do it for you. We're happy to. We've got an app, it's called the Chicago Agent app. It's free to download. And it's great because you can actually just type in the property address and it will automatically pull in the property taxes that it pulls through the county, the treasurer's website. And then it will even figure out, if you don't know the payoff, it will figure out when the loan was recorded, what the average interest rate was in that year. And you can kind of figure out the payoff if you don't know it yet. So it will help you in situations as well if you're talking to that seller and they want to know right on the spot, hey, what is my estimated number?
Yeah.
So always good. I always share that as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So kind of switching gears here.
Yeah.
I know you as the Mile High Title guy.
Okay.
I know you have a big presence online, and you have helped me a ton just with thinking about those things, with running ads. I know you teach classes on a variety of different topics. Do you want to jump into that a little bit and
Sure.
that kind of aspect of what you do and how you help agents?
Yeah. So, as I previously mentioned, that I hate to say it, but it's seen this way is the title insurance industry can be seen kind of as a commoditized industry. I think every title company, has different strengths and weaknesses. And I think though to the general agent, right, like you said, you kind of write someone in because you have a relationship with them or you met them early on or whatever, and they're doing a good job. And the truth is my main role as a title rep, account executive, sales rep, whatever you want to call me, is essentially to go out and disrupt relationships, I guess, right? Because it's my goal to build relationships with agents, find ways to help them with their business, and then ideally earn their business at Chicago Title. And my niche, as you kind of mentioned, is the marketing world. I've always had a passion for marketing. Before Chicago Title, I was running a small boutique marketing company where we did some video and some social media, some ads, and I've just always leaned into it. I'm kind of that guy that will just go on YouTube and just watch hours of content until I figure out how to do something and then go test it. And what's fun is at the end of the day, I'm in sales and you're in sales. Of course, my ideal target audience is real estate agents, but I got to go out and try things, whether it's Facebook ads or Google ads, or even I sent direct mail for a year to real estate agents, classes, events, to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. That way, when I sit down with you, I can talk to you and actually have some experience behind what the heck I'm talking about and share with you what I found has worked for me. But leaning into that, Facebook, Instagram ads have been a very, very hot topic of mine, just because if you set them up properly and you run real estate ads, they can be highly targeted and very inexpensive to do. And you can target essentially anyone you want as long as you have the right data, which we try to get you. And but classes, events, I teach a variety of classes, whether it's Facebook, Instagram ads, video. I've been doing some video workshops, which is fun, where we show agents how to right on the spot film videos and edit videos and leave that workshop with an edited video. We do a ton of panels, seminars. We bring in top producing agents or top real estate investors or just kind of top movers and shakers or voices in the industry, and we have them on a panel, we have them speak. So my goal is always, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's just true, is just how can I give value to the real estate community. I've always, early on, I read the book The Go-Giver, Ninja Selling, whatever you want to call it. Is it right up there?
It's up there.
There it is. It's just put it out there, and it will come back to you, and it works. Just add value.
Yeah, that's the Go-Giver sells more. Or
Is that the green one? Is that the red one?
It's the green one.
Green
yeah.
one. Okay.
I have the red one is the original, I think, and
Okay.
then I have the purple one as well.
Got all the colors.
Yeah. I think there's another one too.
Is there?
I don't
Okay.
know.
They just keep selling them.
Yeah, they keep giving. Yeah, they should give them. They're actually all given to me too.
Oh, really?
It's like
That's good.
a symbol of the
Yes.
book is like giving. It's kind of funny.
That's
But
good. Do you read physical books or audio books or both?
both? Yeah.
Okay, you're good.
I get Audible credit every month with like a
Yep.
credit card that I have, and so I try to do a book a month at least.
Good for
listening.
you.
I'm not as good at reading physical books, but I have a big stack that I'm trying to get through, and it's all always self-help type stuff and just selling. And
That's what you like. That's what I like to listen
No,
to.
I don't like.
You don't like it?
No,
Okay.
but I need it. Right? It's
Okay.
like I see it as like. I've always kind of thought about it this way, as like practicing mindfulness and then mindfulness.
Yeah.
Right. So like you got to be mindful and meditate and do those things. And I see that as like exercising things that are good for your mind. But then you have to practice mindfulness, which is like always be learning, always be getting better at your craft or whatever that is. And I like thinking about it that way. Like even in my car, like I'm in my car all day, every day. So like I should either be in complete silence. Like another thing that I've been practicing is being bored.
Okay.
I find it's rare to be bored nowadays, and a lot of people struggle with it, including myself. Like if there's 2 seconds, I'll pop on my phone, I'll start scrolling Instagram, 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, holy crap, I just wasted half an hour. I had all this to do.
Yep.
So in my car, I will either be in complete silence, thinking about things that I need to do, or I'm listening to a book or podcast or something, just trying to get better.
Love that.
At all the things that I try to do.
That's cool.
So I did want to talk to you a little bit about the video side of it, right? I know, or just from knowing you, that and we haven't known each other a terrible long time, but I followed you for a while, and I know you like to do.
And we met in a land title office.
Yeah, apparently. I literally have a memory.
First time I meet him, you're like, yeah, you're with land title. I met you in the office. Like,
no, it wasn't. I don't know.
Sound the same.
Yeah, my bad.
You're good. That's funny.
But I know you like to do video, like personally, right?
Yeah.
Like you like to fly your drone, you like to travel and make edits from traveling. I love to do that stuff too.
Love that.
Like snowboarding is my big thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm going on a
Japan.
snowboard trip, I'm vlogging it all. I have a YouTube channel, that sort of thing. So where do you see like the crossover between the two, and just how awesome is it that like it seems like one of your hobbies is something that you can do like on a daily basis, but also teach people how to do. What's the crossover between the two, and have you gotten title business from your personal like videos and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so when I first got into title insurance 7 years ago, dude, it's a grind. I'll start there. Like anyone getting into title insurance, if you don't have a big network, it's a grind because it's such a high volume business. And I always kind of give this very rough comparison, but I don't know, a successful agent, I mean, if you're doing 2 deals a month, that's good, right? Like 2, 4. I always compare that like on the title side, if you're like a title rep, you want to be, you want to be closing, for me, I want to be closing at least 100 deals a month. So it's very high volume, right? And it's grow. And when I started out, I tried all the things. I think anyone in sales, right, you got to kind of figure out what you're good at. So just threw stuff at the wall. I did cold calls. I would make baskets I would go to Costco. I would make baskets, and I would literally just show up unannounced to real estate brokerages and do pop-bys because this one rep did it, and she was really good at it. But I just bothered people, I think. So I stopped doing that and stopped doing the cold calls. And I knew I had to do something because I knew nobody in this industry. and you have to know a lot of people to really, excel at it. I mean, if you had a pulse, I would talk to you. And then what I realized was, okay, well, can I lean into the marketing side of things? And what started out were the video classes. And nobody showed up to these for months. But I just kept doing them and trying. And that's where I started to, I guess, fail forward and find my footing, which then led into other classes and events and trying things. And that's just how it's formed for me. But getting back to your question on the video, yeah, the video stuff is fun. I love doing it. It's a passion. It's truly my why. I love traveling now with my family. I've got 3 little kids, and just making little recap videos. That's what I love to do. That's what moves me. And I love flying the drone, trying to follow the rules we were talking about, not breaking rules, and just making little videos. It's a lot of fun tweaking that stuff. I personally don't do anything for real estate agents. I can't do that. That's one of those weird things with what you can and can't do as a title rep. We're very regulated. But if I can, teach them or share with them some things that I've learned, I will, whether it's making a real estate video or a lifestyle video or whatever. But beyond that, I do believe there's a ton of value also in hiring marketing companies and professional videographers to create that professional looking content. There's so much value there. I kind of niche into, hey, if you want to make a quick little short form video and do it on your smartphone and do it quick, this is how I would do it if I were you.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got videographers sitting
right.
here in the office. But we talk about that a lot too. Like, we'll film stuff here, but even like from the agent level, like, do a selfie video. Just get yourself out there. And I think COVID, everything you were saying makes sense. I mean, you've been doing this 7 years. When you first started, all you had to do was, talk to someone and you got a buyer. Like, selling real estate was really easy. So you didn't need to make videos. You didn't need to brand. You didn't need to do any of that stuff, and you could close 30 deals a year, right? And then COVID happens, same thing, gets even hotter, and then
Crazy.
all of a sudden interest rates go up. And then now it's like, oh, I've got to do a little bit more than just like claim a lead or wake up that morning and you're probably going to get a real estate deal. Like, it's much, much harder now. So I think industry wide, being an agent, the people I follow on social media, the advice that I get, the people I look to for advice on growing your business, it's all turned into like, you have to build your brand. And if you're going to build your brand, you have to market yourself. And the fastest, easiest way is pull out your cell phone and tell the world what you want to say. And I think, just speaking anecdotally as an agent, but also someone who tries to get our team involved and do those type of things, like, real estate agents don't like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
At all.
That's very true.
Yeah. How have you broke like that barrier of like, you're teaching a class and then getting someone to, jump into making content and that sort of thing?
Most real estate agents don't want to make video. And if you're a real estate agent listening or watching this, my recommendation to you is that you look the way you look and you sound the way you sound, and you might as well just get that out of the way and get it on video, because don't you want to meet them face to face at some point anyway and work with them? So that's one. Number two is, I think a lot of us get caught up on how many followers we have and how many friends we have, and we always feel like we're not that validated because we don't have that many followers. But I always say this is, how many deals do you want to do? You want to do 20, 30, 40, 50. All right, well, you really only need that many people following you that identify with you and your brand and who you are and what you do, and realize they want to work with you. And that should be a huge reason for you to put out video content, because you can reach them, plus many other people with just posting a video. So those are my 2 selling points, plus so many other things.
I look at it as like, what's the cheapest way to stay top of mind with your past clients, for example, right? So every time I close, I connect with my clients on social media, right? And then if I post one time a month, then once a month for literally no effort whatsoever. My
Yeah.
clients remember that I'm alive and I'm a person and I sell real estate. And if they run into someone who wants to buy or sell their home, they, in their mind, is
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, Bo, just saw his post yesterday. It was hilarious, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I could take the time to call them or text them or send them mailers or, spend money doing those things to stay top of mind. Or I could post, and not only do I get in touch with that person, but I get in touch with everyone else.
Totally.
And it's just like the barrier of the, that is marketing, and I'm guilty as well. Like, I hate being on camera. I do a podcast, right? It's like, I try not to listen to them because I hate the sound of my own voice,
Funny.
but
you're doing it.
There's value in it for sure. And doing it. And I don't know, I mean, out of all the people that get on camera in the office, I'm probably on camera the most now, and I'm super comfortable. It's like, I look at the camera, I say what I gotta say, and typically it's one take. It's like, cool, that was good. Let's keep moving. But it used to be 50 takes, and like I would just fumble every time I said something. Like, oh, I gotta say it differently. I've got a script. They're holding up a sign. Like, I'm trying to like get everything perfect, and I think that's another thing that people struggle with is like they want to be perfect. And it's just like, if you look at the people that have the biggest followings and put out the most content, like, they're not trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
They're just getting their message out. They're being authentic, and that's what people like.
And you summed it up so well. You got to get your reps in. I don't think most people are naturally good at video the first time they record. It's just awkward and weird and feels weird. And if you're doing it in a public place, that's a whole other barrier. I'm at that point, though, now where I am just like that shameless guy filming a selfie with a selfie stick gimbal, like walking down the sidewalk, not giving an F.
Yeah.
Because I just don't care, because I've seen what it can do for you.
Oh, yeah.
But the last thing I'll hit on that with video is just, if you can create something too that's evergreen, and you can put out evergreen content that can live on the internet and breathe and just last for years and years to come, there's so much value into that. I'm a big believer in creating evergreen content. I have a rule that if someone asks me the same question, if I get asked the same question at least 3 times, I write it down. I've got a Google document just with like ideas and notes on videos. Then every once in a while, I'll pop open the smartphone and shoot a couple videos. But the idea is I put that content on social. I might run ads behind it. I'll put it on my blog. I'll put it in my email drip. I'll put it in all these places. And then I can source back to it when I get asked those questions down the road, because we all just get busier, right? Like with life and business and family and all that. And I've just started to build up this library of video content that I can share when I get asked those repeat questions. And I always say that to agents, because I teach this workshop and they're like, I don't know what I should make a video on. I'm like, start writing down the things that you get commonly asked by buyers, sellers, investors, because you're going to get asked those questions again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And just one last thing on video. I think the reason why I'm a little bit more comfortable is because I make like snowboarding videos, and my best man at my wedding is a YouTuber, right? So, and he's
That's
super
fun.
shy. Like, he's not, he's quiet. Like, you meet him, he's just like, you barely talks, right? But he's on camera every day, and he's super comfortable. And like, he's coached me on tons of things, but also just being silly on YouTube videos. And then now being more serious, I think is a little bit easier. And just from my snowboarding YouTube channel, which doesn't have a big following, I have like 1,000 subscribers, maybe a little more. But I've got one client from that I've closed 6 deals with.
That's cool.
And so like every dime I've spent on traveling the world, snowboarding or everything, like he's literally paid for with the closings. Like, so it's been worth it. Like, and he's not the only one that I've gotten off that, but literally that one client, like, he loves snowboarding. That's cool. How we met. And he's one of my favorite clients ever, like,
that's
just
cool.
Continue to work together. He buys a house every year, investment property. Like, it's awesome.
Is your YouTube channel strictly just snowboarding, or is it a mix?
It's a lot of travel stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, so like I've got like anywhere my wife and I travel now.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of Belize stuff on there from our honeymoon. Anytime we're traveling, I'll try to film, and it's shameless as well, right? I've got like a 360 camera.
Oh yeah.
I'll go full like unicorn mount. Like
I have one
funny.
of those.
One other thing I was going to ask you, and as someone, so my wife is pregnant, right? And someone who I work all day, every day, from the time I wake up to the time I'm computer in the bed type guy. It's midnight.
Okay.
I'm pumping out
Wow.
stuff every day.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed just knowing you a short amount of time is you work a lot. You're very busy, but you also spend a ton of time with your family, right? You have kids. How do you balance? Any advice for an expecting father?
It's hard. And I'm not always in balance, right? There's weeks and months where things, I mean, even this morning, holy cow, our nanny, calls in sick, and it's like, all right, well, scramble. What do we do? Well, I'm doing a podcast at 10:30. What are you doing? Right? It's almost like who's got what in the day, and then that can quickly create some tension that you have to figure out. So I think balance is tough, and I think anyone who wants to perform at a higher level and wants to grow, the balance is even harder. I think especially for a salesperson, a real estate professional in a role where a lot of clients might just expect you to always be available. That's hard to shut that off, especially if you've got through NAV, you've got leads and you're on call and one gets round robin to you and whatever, you don't want to miss it. It's tough to balance that. So for me, I think I'm honestly one step down because I don't have, leads rolling in my way, and I can kind of control some of my time, but I'm pretty strict. You can't get a hold of me before 8:30 a.m. because I'm with my family. I'm hanging out with them, dropping my son off at school, and then it's go time after 8:30, and then I'm home by 4:30. Nanny's gone. We're with the kids, and then from 4:30 to about 7:30, 8 p.m. I'm with the family. Bedtime, that whole routine, clean the house, and then it's back to work after 8 p.m.
Okay.
So I think everyone's unique, and I don't want to, say this is the thing. I think you got to figure out what's worked for you. I've realized that I just have to sleep less or just wake up earlier because it's a crapshoot on when the kids wake up, and I got to get my workout in. I think just having that routine is huge, though. Like I have to get some sort of physical activity in, even if it's just walking on the treadmill, something, just something to get my day going. And I think, like you talked about, staying in the car and listening to Audible or not listening to anything and focusing on whatever, I think those routines matter and they help keep us dialed in on what we want to do. But it's hard. I think any high performers or high achievers, I think we all struggle with that balance between family and life and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a great answer and similar answer to what I get from I have a lending partner who almost has the exact schedule with his kids, right? It's like he's unavailable when they first wake up, spends the first few hours of the day with them. Then he's in the office, and then he gets home around 5, and then from 5 to 8, he doesn't respond to anything. At 8:01, he sends me a pre-approval letter or numbers or he's at his computer. Kids are asleep, right? And it's awesome. And so my wife, she has her own hair salon, right? So she makes her own schedule for the most part. I mean, she has clients that request a certain time, but we've been thinking about, do we want to be more structured or do we want to be more flexible? You know what I mean? Because it's there's two ways you could go about it. But I think we're going to go more structured in the beginning, and maybe I'm at home because we both want to work, once our baby's a certain age. And I think it's going to be a lot of trial and error, a lot of
it will be
asking people, hey, how do you do it? We're excited though. I'm a little nervous, but we've got until December.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Just don't let anyone tell you that it has to be a certain way, because I think everyone's different.
Yeah.
And I always try not to be that parent that says, oh, wait till this happens or wait till this, because I got a lot of that when my wife was pregnant, and wait till they stop sleeping, and wait till, because I mean, we got twin girls and that are 1 and my son's 3, and they're like, oh, you're never going to sleep again. Well, we somehow figure out a way to get them all to sleep through the night, which is huge. But it's going to be great, and you're going to figure it out, and every relationship is different. And I think as long as you have that discussion and understanding with your significant other on what that looks like, that's most important.
Yeah. Cool. I think we kind of figured this out. But last question I was going to ask you is like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? But I think the listeners might already can tell.
Yeah, travel, video, family all day long. That's it. Reach financial independence as fast as possible. And but I love my job. My job is a lot of fun. I mean, if you like to be outgoing and talk to a lot of people and go to coffees and lunches and drinks and call on people and do all that, it's a lot of fun to do that. So I really do enjoy my job and my life. It's funny because at the end of the day, I sell title insurance for Chicago Title, but half the time we're just kind of hanging out and having a good time. We're talking about their business or marketing or whatever, and I get to build genuine relationships with people that I actually enjoy spending time with. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, and thanks again for having me on the podcast. What about you? I haven't asked you any questions though. NAV Real Estate. Shout out to NAV. What's next? Are we growing? Who are we looking for? Anyone watching this? Who's the ideal candidate?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah, so we are growing. We think NAV is awesome, and we think when the world finds out about NAV, it's going to align with what a lot of agents are looking for, with our profit share, with the amount of opportunity we provide with leads and that sort of thing. With our culture here, to us, culture is maybe the most important thing. And we want to grow, but we'll grow in the right way with the right people. And honestly, like, we want to grow with industry partners like you, right? And with what you were just saying, you're in the business of selling title insurance, but you're also in the business of building relationships. And I think that's what you're really, really good at, building relationships and providing value to those relationships. And we kind of want to do the same thing as a brokerage, right? Like, we want to provide a ton of value. We want to build relationships. We don't just want someone to hang their license here for the fun of it, like, be a part of the team. Like, let's grow together, let's build something. And we think what we've built so far is amazing, and it's only going to get better from here. The last thing I'll say, the nice thing about NAV is, like, and I say this all the time, is like, we're not some big corporate company, and like, we do whatever we want. So that's like, in my opinion, that's like a huge advantage, because like, if it's some specific marketing thing, if it's a lead source, if it's, going on a trip, treating our people, we're super adaptable. Yeah. And if there are changes in the industry, in the market, like, we can do whatever we want, because we make the decisions here as a local, business. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited to keep rolling with it. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for having me, for coming on the podcast. Yeah. A lot of great information there. I mean, I think you answered some questions I maybe had about title insurance too. Sure. If people want to get in touch with you, how could they get a hold of you?
Easiest way, my name is spelled weird, so a long time ago I shut off my email with my name in it. But you could just go to milehighTitleGuy.com, www, or reach out to me, info@milehighTitleGuy.com, or check me out on Instagram, milehighTitleGuy, where I share real estate tools, resources, marketing ideas, and some title and escrow tips as well. So yeah, appreciate the time. Thanks, Bo.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. Hope you have you back on soon. Right. Let's have some more conversations. Do you have any trips coming up?
We're going to Bozeman. Yeah, we were just in Vail. We're going to Bozeman, maybe Crested Butte, and back to Vail again. Maybe we'll see. We're keeping it more Colorado. What about you?
Going to next week. Going to the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Cool.
Best friend lives out there. Got a spearfishing charter lined up, so I'll hopefully make a video from that. And after that, San Diego, and then we have we take all of our top agents on a top producer trip every year.
NAV's got a top producer trip.
So we're going to Costa Rica in October.
Where in Costa Rica?
Well, I think we're going to be staying between Playa Flamingo and Tamarindo.
All right.
if I said those right. I've been there. I've been to that
Okay.
area before, so that was kind of my vote because I kind of know it already. Tamarino is really, really fun, but we're gonna do like an all-inclusive resort and go snorkeling and do all
Cool.
that. And you can surf at Tamarino, so that's kind of why I want to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
I've surfed there before. I got wrecked. I was out in the water by myself too, so I didn't surf much.
Okay.
It was big that day, and yeah, my wife and her family were just like, "Oh, did you have fun?" And I'm like bleeding from my head, and yeah, it was great. Cool. Yeah. So, well, thanks, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more podcasts coming
Like,
soon.
comment, share, right? All the things.
All the things. We'll see you next time, though. Peace.
Take care.